on, man. Thank you.
We located the rest of them. Stand by for redeployment.
I just want to test. Just want to test something out. Oh, great. Stay behind the wall. Okay, you can stay right there and camp the loadie.
The Art of War by Sun Tzu. Translated by Lionel Giles and narrated by Robin Homer.
I'm fucking tired.
1. Laying plans. Sun Tzu said, the art of war is of vital importance to the state. It is a matter of life and death, a road either to safety or to ruin. Hence it is a subject of inquiry which can on no account be neglected. The art of war, then, is governed by 5 constant factors to be taken into account in one's deliberation when seeking to determine the conditions obtaining in the field. These are 1. The moral law, 2. Heaven, 3. Earth, 4. The commander, and 5. Method and discipline. The moral law causes people to be in complete accord with their ruler, so that they will follow him regardless of their lives, undismayed by any danger. Heaven signifies night and day, cold and heat, times and seasons. Earth comprises distances, great and small, danger and security, open ground and narrow passes, the chances of life and death.
Save yourself.
The commander stands for the virtues of wisdom, sincerity, benevolence, courage and strictness.
You have to be
By method and discipline are to be understood the marshalling of the army in its proper subdivisions, the graduations of rank among the officers, the maintenance of roads by which supplies may reach the army, and the control of military expenditure. These 5 heads should be familiar to every general. He who knows them will be victorious. He who knows them not will fail. Therefore, in your deliberations, when seeking to determine the military conditions, let them be made the basis of a comparison in this wise.
I gotta rechange the title. The most
Which of the 2 sovereigns is imbued with the moral law? 2. Which of the 2 generals has most ability? 3. With whom lie the advantages derived from heaven and earth? 4. On which side is discipline most rigorously enforced? 5. Which army is stronger? 6. On which side are officers and men more highly trained? And 7. In which army is there the greater constancy both in reward and punishment?
Especially?
By means of these 7 considerations, I can forecast victory or defeat. The general that hearkens to my counsel and acts upon it will conquer. Let such a one be retained in command. The general that hearkens not to my counsel, nor acts upon it, will suffer defeat. Let such a one be dismissed. While heeding the profit of my counsel, avail yourself also of any helpful circumstances over and beyond the ordinary rules. According as circumstances are favourable, one should modify one's plans. All warfare is based on deception. Hence, when able to attack, we must seem unable. When using our forces, we must seem inactive. When we are near, we must make the enemy believe we are far away. When far away, we must make him believe we are near. Hold out baits to entice the enemy, feign disorder and crush him. If he is secure at all points, be prepared for him. If he is in superior strength, evade him. If your opponent is of choleric temper, seek to irritate him. Pretend to be weak, that he may grow arrogant. If he is taking his ease, give him no rest. If his forces are united, separate them. Attack him where he is unprepared, appear where you are not expecting. These military devices leading to victory must not be divulged beforehand. Now, the general who wins a battle makes many calculations in his temple ere the battle is fought. The general who loses a battle makes but few calculations beforehand. Thus do many calculations lead to victory and few calculations to defeat. How much more, no calculation at all. It is by attention to this point that I can foresee who is likely to win or lose. 2. Waging war. Sun Tzu said, "In the operations of war, where there are in the field 1,000 swift chariots, as many heavy chariots, and 100,000 mail-clad soldiers, with provisions enough to carry them 1,000 li, the expenditure at home and at the front, including entertainment of guests, small items such as glue and paint, and sums spent on chariots and armour, will reach the total of 1,000 ounces of silver per day. Such is the cost of raising an army of 100,000 men." When you engage in actual fighting, if victory is long in coming, the men's weapons will grow dull and their ardour will be damped. If you lay siege to a town, you will exhaust your strength. Again, if the campaign is protracted, the resources of the state will not be equal to the strain. Now, when your weapons are dulled, your ardour damped, your strength exhausted and your treasure spent, other chieftains will spring up to take advantage of your extremity. Then no man, however wise, will be able to avert the consequences that must ensue. Thus, though we have heard of stupid haste in war, cleverness has never been associated with long delays. There is no instance of a country having benefited from prolonged warfare. It is only one who is thoroughly acquainted with the evils of war that can thoroughly understand the profitable way of carrying it on. The skillful soldier does not raise a second levy. Neither are his supply wagons loaded more than twice. Bring war material with you from home, but forage on the enemy. Thus the army will have food enough for its needs. Poverty of the state exchequer causes an army to be maintained by contributions from a distance. Contributing to maintain an army at a distance causes the people to be impoverished. On the other hand, the proximity of an army causes prices to go up, and high prices cause the people's substance to be drained away. When their substance is drained away, the peasantry will be afflicted by heavy exactions. With this loss of substance and exhaustion of strength, the homes of the people will be stripped bare, and 3/10 of their income will be dissipated, while government expenses for broken chariots, worn-out horses, breastplates and helmets, bows and arrows, spears and shields, protective mantles, draft oxen and heavy wagons will amount to 4/10 of its total revenue. Hence, a wise general makes a point of foraging on the enemy. One cartload of the enemy's provisions is equivalent to 20 of one's own, and likewise a single picule of his provender is equivalent to 20 from one's own store. Now, in order to kill the enemy, our men must be roused to anger. That there may be advantage from defeating the enemy, they must have their rewards. Therefore, in chariot fighting, when 10 or more chariots have been taken, those should be rewarded who took the first. Our own flags should be substituted for those of the enemy, and the chariots mingled and used in conjunction with ours. The captured soldiers should be kindly treated and kept.
No matter the mode you play,
this is called using the conquered foe to augment one's own strength.
Annoying stuff no matter what.
In war, then, let your great object be victory, not lengthy campaigns. Thus it may be known that the leader of armies is the arbiter of the people's fate, the man on whom it depends whether the nation shall be in peace or in peril.
Ground loot guns, and we got the dub.
3. Attack by stratagem. Sun Tzu said, "In the practical art of war, the best thing of all is to take the enemy's country whole and intact. To shatter and destroy it is not so good. So too, it is better to recapture an army entire than to destroy it. To capture a regiment, a detachment, or a company entire than to destroy them. Hence, to fight and conquer in all your battles is not supreme excellence. Supreme excellence consists in breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting.
Dual-wield Reclaimer 18
Thus, the
shotguns to
highest
become a
form of
mobile artillery
generalship
barrage
is to
with this-
bulk the enemy's
a mobile
plans.
artillery barrage?
The next
I don't know
best
if I'd
is to
call it
prevent
that.
the junction
I don't
of the
shoot fast
enemy's
enough to do that.
forces. The next in order is to attack
Even
the
lower
enemy's
hit
army
spread.
in the
The
field,
only way to use them is
and
hit-
the worst policy of all is to besiege walled cities.
Why would you ever want this?
The rule is not to besiege walled cities if it can
answer
possibly
is,
be
you
avoided.
wouldn't.
The preparation of mantlets, movable shelters, and various implements of war will take up 3 whole
Shotgun
months,
spread, tac
and the
stance,
piling up
hip
of mounds
fire.
over and against the walls
barrel.
will take 3 months more.
I keep fire around.
The general, unable to control his
velocity.
irritation, will launch his men to the assault like swarming
damage
ants,
range,
with the result that
41%.
1/3 of his men
I
are
haven't tried
slain,
these, but I heard they're
while the
kinda crap.
town still remains
They
untaken.
don't look bad. but I
Such
heard
are
they're
the
bad.
disastrous effects of a siege. Therefore, the skillful leader subdues the enemy's troops
Minus
without any
14,
fighting.
minus
He captures
21
their
tac
cities
stance
without
range.
laying siege to them. He overthrows their kingdom without lengthy operations in the field. With his forces
15.
intact, he will dispute the mastery of the empire, and thus, without losing a man, his triumph will be complete. This is the method of attacking
Best
by
laser,
stratagem. It is the rule in
Does it
war,
change?
if our
Now it
forces
says
are
minus
10
16?
to the enemy's 1, to surround him.
This before didn't
If
say
5 to 1, to attack him. If twice
I
as
think the stats
numerous,
literally
to
change.
divide our army into 2. If equally matched, we can offer battle. If slightly
minus
inferior
21 on
in
the
numbers,
tac stance, minus
we can
22
avoid
on
the
that
enemy.
one.
If quite unequal in every
Stance,
way,
minus 16
we
plus
can
the
flee
minus
from
38
him.
on the shotgun spread.
Hence, though an
didn't
obstinate
use fire
fight can
rounds?
be
Oh,
made
wait,
by a
no
small
stock.
force, in the end it must be captured by the larger force.
No stock.
Now the general is the bulwark of the state. If the bulwark is complete at all points, the state will
Use
be
the
strong.
No stock.
If the bulwark is defective,
I was rocking
the state
before.
will be weak. There are 3 ways in which a ruler can bring misfortune upon his army.
This looks so much cleaner than
1.
the other.
By
area,
commanding the
whatever it
army
was.
to advance or to retreat, being ignorant
Oh,
of
is
the
that the no
fact
stock
that it
that makes it
cannot
look like
obey.
Yep.
This is called hobbling the army. 2. By attempting to govern an army in
adds
the
a lot
same
of
way
speed.
as he administers a kingdom,
But then look at
being
that kick.
ignorant of the conditions
Does that make
which
a
obtain
difference
in an
when
army.
shooting in tac stance?
This causes restlessness in the soldier's
Semi-auto,
minds.
tac stance.
3. By employing the officers in his army without discrimination
Hey, it might be worth a
through
shot this
ignorance
way.
of the military
like
principle of
That no
adaptation
stock
to
build just
circumstances.
feels nice having that
This
speed.
shakes the
But
confidence
if my
of the
shots be more
soldiers.
consistent,
But when the army is restless
Might be
and
even nicer.
distrustful, trouble is sure to come from the other feudal princes. This
Hello,
is simply
kitty.
bringing anarchy into the army and flinging victory away. Thus we may know that there are
Oh,
5 essentials for victory. 1. He will win who knows when to fight and when not to fight.
hi kitty.
2. He will win who knows how to handle both superior and
getting so
inferior
big.
forces. 3. He will win
You're
whose
getting
army is
huge.
animated by the same spirit throughout all its ranks. 4. He will win
recording
who,
videos
prepared
on my vlogging
himself,
camera,
waits
she's
to take
already,
the
like, a lot
enemy
bigger than
unprepared.
just like a couple
And
weeks
5.
ago.
He will win who
Yeah,
has
like,
military capacity
Why
and
the
is not
cutest little
interfered
softest,
with by the
furriest,
sovereign.
Little squirmiest thing ever.
Hence the saying,
You don't want to be
if
held.
you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every
Buddha.
victory gained you will also suffer a
There you go,
defeat.
check her food bowl.
If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. 4. Tactical dispositions. Sun Tzu said, "The good fighters of old first put themselves beyond the possibility of defeat, and then waited for an opportunity of defeating the enemy. To secure ourselves against defeat lies in our own hands, but the opportunity of defeating the enemy is provided by the enemy himself. Thus the good fighter is able to secure himself against defeat, but cannot make certain of defeating the enemy. Hence the saying, one may know how to conquer without being able to do it." Security against defeat implies defensive tactics. Ability to defeat the enemy means taking the offensive. Standing on the defensive indicates insufficient strength, attacking a superabundance of strength. The general who is skilled in defense hides in the most secret recesses of the earth. He who is skilled in attack flashes forth from the topmost heights of heaven. Thus, on the one hand, we have ability to protect ourselves, on the other, a victory that is complete. To see victory only when it is within the ken of the common herd is not the acme of excellence. Neither is it the acme of excellence if you fight and conquer and the whole empire says, "Well done." To lift an autumn hair is no sign of great strength. To see the sun and moon is no sign of sharp sight. To hear the noise of thunder is no sign of a quick ear. What the ancients called a clever fighter is one who not only wins, but excels in winning with ease. Hence his victories bring him neither reputation for wisdom nor credit for courage. He wins his battles by making no mistakes. Making no mistakes is what establishes the certainty of victory, for it means conquering an enemy that is already defeated. Hence the skillful fighter puts himself into a position which makes defeat impossible, and does not miss the moment for defeating the enemy. Thus it is that in war the victorious strategist only seeks battle after the victory has been won, whereas he who is destined to defeat first fights and afterwards looks for victory.
Cool if you grab that.
The consummate leader cultivates the moral law, and strictly adheres to method and discipline. Thus it is in his power to control success. In respect of military method, we have firstly measurement, secondly estimation of quantity, thirdly calculation, fourthly balancing of chances, fifthly victory. Measurement owes its existence to earth, estimation of quantity to measurement, calculation to estimation of quantity, balancing of chances to calculation, and victory to balancing of chances. A victorious army opposed to a routed one is a pound's weight placed in the scale against a single grain. The onrush of a conquering force is like the bursting of pent-up waters into a chasm 1,000 fathoms deep.
I could have backed up, plated, and then took out my SMG.
5.
I shot his shit out of me
Energy.
though.
Sun Tzu said, "The control of a large force is the same principle as the control of a few men. It is merely a question of dividing up their numbers. Fighting with a large army under your command is nowise different from fighting with a small one. It is merely a question of instituting signs and signals. To ensure that your whole host may withstand the brunt of the enemy's attack and remain unshaken, this is effected by maneuvers, direct and indirect.
That's not a good layout.
That the impact of your army may be like a grindstone dashed against an egg, this is effected by the science of weak points and strong. In all fighting, the direct method may be used for joining battle, but indirect methods will be needed in order to secure victory. Indirect tactics, efficiently applied, are as inexhaustible as heaven and earth, unending as the flow of rivers and streams. Like the sun and moon, they end but to begin anew. Like the 4 seasons, they pass away to return once more. There are not more than 5 musical notes, yet the combinations of these 5 give rise to more melodies than can ever be heard. There are not more than 5 primary colours, blue, yellow, red, white and black, yet in combination they produce more hues than can ever be seen. There are not more than 5 cardinal states, sour, acrid, salt, sweet, bitter, yet combinations of them yield more flavours than can ever be tasted. In battle there are not more than 2 methods of attack, the direct and the indirect. Yet these 2 in combination give rise to an endless series of maneuvers. The direct and the indirect lead on to each other in turn. It is like moving in a circle. You never come to an end. Who can exhaust the possibilities of their combination? The onset of troops is like the rush of a torrent which will even roll stones along in its course. The quality of decision is like the well-timed swoop of a falcon which enables it to strike and destroy its victim. Therefore, the good fighter will be terrible in his onset and prompt in his decision.
Friday the 13th.
Energy may be likened to the bending of a crossbow, decision to the releasing of a trigger. Amid the turmoil and tumult of battle, there may be seeming disorder, and yet no real disorder at all. Amid confusion and chaos, your array may be without head or tail, yet it will be proof against defeat. Simulated disorder postulates perfect discipline. Simulated fear postulates courage. Simulated weakness postulates strength. Hiding order beneath the cloak of disorder is simply a question of subdivision. Concealing courage under a show of timidity presupposes a fund of latent energy. Masking strength with weakness is to be effected by tactical disposition. Thus, one who is skillful at keeping the enemy on the move maintains deceitful appearances, according to which the enemy will act. He sacrifices something that the enemy may snatch at it. By holding out baits, he keeps him on the mark. Then, with a body of picked men, he lies in wait for him. The clever combatant looks to the effect of combined energy, and does not require too much from individuals. Hence his ability to pick out the right men and utilize combined energy. When he utilizes combined energy, his fighting men become, as it were, like unto rolling logs or stones. For it is the nature of a log or stone to remain motionless on level ground, and to move when on a slope. If four-cornered, to come to a standstill, but if rounded, to go rolling down. Thus, the energy developed by good fighting men is as the momentum of a round stone rolled down a mountain thousands of feet in height. So much on the subject of energy. 6. Weak points and strong. Sun Tzu said, "Whoever is first in the field and awaits the coming of the enemy will be fresh for the fight. Whoever is second in the field and has to hasten to battle will arrive exhausted." Therefore, the clever combatant imposes his will on the enemy, but does not allow the enemy's will to be imposed on him.
That's my weak spot.
By holding out advantages to him, he can cause the enemy to approach of his own accord, or by inflicting damage, he can make it impossible for the enemy to draw near. If the enemy is taking his ease, he can harass him. If well supplied with food, he can starve him out. Quietly encamped, he can force him to move. Appear at points which the enemy must hasten to defend. March swiftly to places where you are not expected. An army may march great distances without distress if it marches through country where the enemy is not. You can be sure of succeeding in your attacks if you only attack places which are undefended. You can ensure the safety of your defense if you only hold positions that cannot be attacked. Hence, that general is skillful in attack whose opponent does not know what to defend, and he is skillful in defense whose opponent does not know what to attack. O divine art of subtlety and secrecy, through you we learn to be invisible, through you inaudible, and hence we can hold the enemy's fate in our hands. You may advance and be absolutely irresistible if you make for the enemy's weak points. You may retire and be safe from pursuit if your movements are more rapid than those of the enemy. If we wish to fight, the enemy can be forced to an engagement even though he be sheltered behind a high rampart and a deep ditch. All we need to do is attack some other place that he will be obliged to relieve. If we do not wish to fight, we can prevent the enemy from engaging us even though the lines of our encampment be merely traced out on the ground. All we need to do is throw something odd and unaccountable in his way.
I know it's resurgence, but holy shit.
By discovering the enemy's dispositions and remaining invisible ourselves, we can keep our forces concentrated, while the enemy's must be divided. We can form a single united body, while the enemy must split up into fractions. Hence there will be a whole pitted against separate parts of a whole, which means that we shall be many to the enemy's few.
But less teamwork.
And if we are able thus to attack an inferior force with a superior one, our opponents will be in dire straits. The spot where we intend to fight must not be made known, for then the enemy will have to prepare against a possible attack at several different points. And his forces being thus distributed in many directions, the numbers we shall have to face at any given point will be proportionately few. For should the enemy strengthen his van, he will weaken his rear. Should he strengthen his rear, he will weaken his van. Should he strengthen his left, he will weaken his right. Should he strengthen his right, he will weaken his left. If he sends reinforcements everywhere, he will everywhere be weak. Numerical weakness comes from having to prepare against possible attacks. Numerical strength from compelling our adversary to make these preparations against us. Knowing the place and the time of the coming battle, we may concentrate from the greatest distances
Do I gotta kill someone to get some plays around here?
But if neither time nor place be known,
answer is yes.
then the left
kill.
wing will be impotent to succour the right, the right equally impotent to succour the left, the van unable to relieve the rear, and the rear to support the van. How much more so if the furthest portions of the army are anything under 100 li apart, and even the nearest are separated by several li. Though, according to my estimate, the soldiers of Yue exceed our own in number, that shall advantage them nothing in the matter of victory. I say then that victory can be achieved. Though the enemy be stronger in numbers, we may prevent him from fighting. Scheme so as to discover his plans and the likelihood
Jason
of their
just
success.
always knows. You know why?
Rouse him and learn
got
the
a UAV
principle
up.
of his activity or
People try to run
inactivity.
away without
Force
ghost
him
on.
to reveal himself so as to find out his vulnerable spots. Carefully compare the opposing army with your own, so that you may know where strength is superabundant and where it is deficient. In making tactical dispositions, the highest pitch you can attain is to conceal them. Conceal your dispositions, and you will be safe from the prying
Look,
of
just
the
use flash.
subtlest spies, from the machinations of the wisest brains. All men can see the tactics whereby I conquer, but what none can see is the strategy out of which victory is evolved. Do not repeat the tactics which have gained you one victory, but let your methods be regulated by infinite variety of circumstances. Military tactics are like unto water. The water in its natural course runs away from high places and hastens downwards. So in war, the way is to avoid what is strong and to strike at what is weak. Water shapes its course according to the nature of the ground over which it flows. The soldier works out his victory in relation to the foe whom he is facing. Therefore, just as water retains no constant shape, so in warfare there are no constant conditions. He who can modify his tactics in relation to his opponent and thereby succeed in winning may be called a heaven-born captain.
Yo,
The
without my
five
no stock on
elements,
this, I am
water,
slow
fire,
mo,
wood,
bro.
metal, earth, are not always equally predominant. The four seasons make way for each other in turn. There are short days and long. The moon has its periods of waning and waxing.
Fire sale active. Buy station prices have been reduced.
7. Maneuvering.
Damn it.
Sun Tzu said, "In war, the general receives his commands from the sovereign. Having collected an army and concentrated his forces, he must blend and harmonize the different elements thereof before pitching his camp. After that comes tactical maneuvering, than which there is nothing more difficult. The difficulty of tactical maneuvering consists in turning the devious into the direct and misfortune into gain. Thus, to take a long and circuitous route, after enticing the enemy out of the way, and those starting after him to contrive to reach the goal before him, shows knowledge of the artifice of deviation. Maneuvering with an army is advantageous, with an undisciplined multitude most dangerous.
Nothing.
If you set a fully equipped army in march in order to snatch an advantage, the chances are that you will be too late. On the other hand, to detach a flying column for the purpose involves the sacrifice of its baggage and stores. Thus, if you order your men to roll up their buff coats and make forced marches without halting day or night, covering double the usual distance at a stretch, doing 100 li in order to wrest an advantage, the leaders of all your 3 divisions will fall into the hands of the enemy.
Saved it.
The stronger men will be in front, the jaded ones will fall behind, and on this plan only 1/10 of your army will reach its destination. If you march 50 li in order to outmaneuver the enemy, you will lose the leader of your first division, and only half your force will reach the goal. If you march 30 li with the same object, 2/3 of your army will arrive. We may take it then that an army without its baggage train is lost. Without provisions, it is lost. Without bases of supply, it is lost. We cannot enter into alliances until we are acquainted with the designs of our neighbours.
Damn, son!
We are not fit to lead an army on the march unless we are familiar with the face of the country, its mountains and forests, its pitfalls and precipices, its marshes and swamps.
Yeah, I did not see that guy there. I knew they're all
We should be
top, I didn't see
unable
the
to
guys
turn natural
laying
advantage
prone.
to account unless
I
we
can't see
make
much while
use of
wearing this
local
besides that
guides.
little people.
In
It's like,
war,
yo, put some circles
practice
around your eyeballs.
dissimulation, and you will succeed.
Even though I can see through it.
Whether
we
to
got some
concentrate
peripheral
or
issues.
divide your troops must be decided by circumstances. Let your rapidity be that of the wind, your compactness that of the forest. In raiding and plundering, be like fire. In immovability, like a mountain.
It's actually like stressful playing with
Let
the
your
mask on. It's
plans
so
be
hard to
dark
see.
and
I have to
impenetrable as
literally turn my
night,
head
and
to
when
look
you
at
move, fall
what's right
like
in
a
front of me.
thunderbolt. When you plunder a countryside, let the spoil be divided amongst
decline.
your men. When you capture new
Decline to
territory,
vote.
cut it up into allotments for the benefit of the soldiery.
Well, they don't have solo
Ponder
resurgence,
and
which is
deliberate
whack as hell.
before you
They
make
got
a
solo
move.
big map.
He will conquer who has learnt the artifice of deviation.
GG's, man.
Such
GG's.
is the art of maneuvering.
I didn't
The
really
Book
test
of
to
Army
see if this
Management
felt better,
says,
like
on the field of
accuracy-wise, without
battle,
the
the
stock.
spoken word
No
does
stock
not
adds a
carry
crap ton
far.
of gun kick,
Hence
but
the
when you're
institution of
blasting
gongs
from the
and
hip,
drums.
or
Nor
attack
can
stance,
ordinary objects be seen
you wouldn't
clearly
think
enough.
gun kick
Hence
or
the
recoil
institution
control
of
would
banners
matter.
and flags.
But if your
Gongs
shots
and
aren't
drums,
killing,
banners and flags
even
are
though it's
means
hip fire,
whereby
I'm pretty
the
sure
ears
that
and
gun
eyes
kick
of the host
still
may be
affects
focused
how
on
the
one
shots,
particular
you know,
point.
how they hit.
The host thus forming a single
though we're
united
shooting from the
body,
hip or
it
attack
is
stance,
impossible
I feel like
either
it
for the
still does
brave
affect
to
it for
advance
sure.
alone, or for the cowardly
I mean,
to
if we're
retreat
close, bro,
alone.
if we're close enough,
This is the
will
art
die
of
fast.
handling large masses of men.
trick
In
is
night
not getting
fighting,
caught by too
then,
many.
make such
I'm
use
pretty
of
slow with
signal
this,
fires and drums,
and if I get,
and
you know,
in
one
fighting
kill, I
by
can't be
day
running
of
away or
flags
sliding
and
too
banners,
quickly. I'm pretty
as a
slow.
means of influencing the ears and eyes
without
of
the
your
no
army.
stock on it. It
A
takes
whole
an
army
attachment
may
slot
be robbed of its
to take
spirit.
one off.
A commander-in-chief may be robbed of his
So we
presence
got
of
our
mind.
reclaimer built like
Now a
this.
soldier's spirit is keenest in the
stance,
morning. By
fire,
noonday it has begun
range
to
as much as you
flag,
can,
and in the
besides
evening
putting on,
his
like,
mind is bent only on
different barrel,
returning
but
to
this
camp.
lowers the shotgun spread, so
A clever
hopefully it's more
general,
accurate.
therefore, avoids an army when its spirit
then
is
the
keen,
reclaimer-
but attacks it when it is sluggish
The
and
jet
inclined
protein
to
on the
return.
rail MG.
This is the art of
There's a little
studying
peep.
moods.
You guys can
Disciplined
try it out.
and
When
calm,
you rock the
to
rail
await
conversion
the
kit, make
appearance
sure
of
you put it in
disorder and
semi-auto
hubbub
mode.
amongst the
That's
enemy.
what makes it broken.
This is the art of retaining self-possession.
Hey, GG's,
To be
y'all.
near the goal while the enemy is still far from it.
GG's,
To wait
man.
at ease while the
It's
enemy
always
is
the rats
toiling
that
and
get us in the
struggling.
end.
To be well fed
It always
while
ends
the
up being
enemy is
some dude
famished.
not moving, just laying
This
prone.
is the art of husbanding one's strength.
I feel like I rarely die by the
To
guy
refrain
who's
from
being a demon with
intercepting an
movement.
enemy
It's
whose
the dude
banners
who's
are in
not
perfect
moving who's
order.
the scariest,
To
bro.
refrain from attacking an army drawn up in calm and
You can't hear 'em,
confident
you
array.
can't really anticipate it if you're just
This is
waiting.
the art of studying circumstances. It is a military axiom not to advance uphill against the enemy, nor to
Water
oppose
bottle
him
needs to
when
be
he
clean, bro.
comes
That's tasting
downhill.
like
Do not
seawater.
pursue an enemy who simulates flight. Do not attack soldiers whose temper is keen. Do not swallow bait offered by the
Happy
enemy.
Friday.
Do not
the
interfere
13th,
with an
guys.
army
We got
that
our
is
vision
returning
back.
home.
Also, can actually
When you
see it clearly
surround an
now.
army, leave an outlet free. Do not press a
200,
desperate
300
foe
gigs for
too
GTA 6.
hard.
It's not even that bad.
Such is the art of warfare. 8.
Hey guys,
Variation
drop a like,
in
comment, subscribe.
tactics.
This is the best setup in the game.
Sun
Follow
Tzu
me on
said,
TikTok for more
in war,
videos.
the general receives his commands from the sovereign, collects
Hey
his
guys,
army, and
drop a like,
concentrates his
subscribe.
forces.
More content on the way.
When in difficult country, do
Thanks
not
for watching my
encamp.
favorite class setup.
Country where high roads intersect, join
Jeez
hands
Louises.
with your allies. Do not linger in dangerously isolated positions. In hemmed-in situations, you must resort to stratagem. In desperate position, you must fight. There are roads which must
I
not
wish
be
I
followed,
started
armies which must
making
not be
Chinatown when I was
attacked, towns which must
12.
not be besieged, positions
wish, bro.
which must not be
Started when I was
contested,
like 16,
commands
17.
of the sovereign which must not
Started at
be
a great
obeyed.
time though.
The general who thoroughly understands
Like, if
the
you start
advantages that
snowboarding,
accompany
you're gonna be way
variation of
better if you start
tactics
when you're
knows how
young,
to
when
handle
you're
his
5,
troops.
6, 10.
The general that does not
If you've
understand
never rode
these
before, then
may
you
be
learn
well
when you're
acquainted with the
in your 20s,
configuration
30s,
of the
you're probably
country,
gonna
yet he will
not
not be
learn it.
able to turn his knowledge to practical
Unless you really
account.
dedicate yourself.
So, the student
Someone's
of
like
war, who
playing
is
Call of Duty,
unversed
if you
in the
just
art
started
of
playing
war,
COD the
of
last few
varying
years,
his plans, even though he be acquainted with the 5
bad, but
advantages,
if you started
will
playing
fail to
during
make the best
2008,
use of his men.
2009,
Hence, in the wise leader's plans, considerations of
man, with the
advantage
OG
and
1, 2,
of
and 3 Call of
disadvantage
Duty.
will be blended together. If our expectation of advantage be tempered in this way, we may succeed in accomplishing the essential part of our scheme.
golden era.
If, on the other hand, in the midst of difficulties we are always ready to seize an advantage, we may extricate ourselves from misfortune. Reduce the hostile chiefs by inflicting damage on them, and make trouble for them, and keep them constantly engaged. Hold out specious allurements, and make them rush to any given point. The art of war teaches us to rely not on the likelihood of the enemy's not coming, but on our own readiness to receive him. Not on the chance of his not attacking,
You're so
but
used to
rather
everyone
on the
being a
fact
straight
that
demon,
we have
bro.
made our
Like, I
position
expect every player to be a
unassailable.
top 250 or a cheater.
There are 5 dangerous faults which may affect a general.
I rarely expect the
Recklessness,
casual player
which
to
leads
stroll
to
on by.
destruction. 2.
Most of the time we play with
Cowardice,
rap or
which leads
smoke
to
or,
capture.
you know, the nuke.
3.
The nuke
A hasty
boys,
temper,
the bunker
which can
boys.
be provoked by insults.
So every lobby in there
4.
is like pretty
A
demonic
delicacy
after
of honour,
catch a
which
few
is
dubs.
sensitive to shame. And 5.
man,
Over-solicitude for
I
his
bet-
men, which exposes
I
him
bet-
to worry and trouble. These are the 5 besetting sins of a general, ruinous to the conduct of war. When an army is overthrown and its leader slain, the cause will surely be found among
why I won
these
and he
5
didn't?
dangerous faults.
Because I
Let
jumped.
them be a subject
He didn't
of
jump. If he would have
meditation.
slid or jumped as well, he would have won. Because his gun was a faster
9.
TTK than
The
mine.
army on the march.
Felt like it.
Sun Tzu said, "We come now to the question of encamping
SP?
the army and
Actually
observing
a little
signs
farther
of the
too.
enemy.
Like this thing's
Pass
good
quickly
from like
over
5
mountains
meters.
and keep in the neighborhood of valleys. Camp in high places facing the sun.
Oh, where I missed.
Do not climb heights in order to fight." So much for mountain warfare. After crossing a river, you should get far away from it. When an invading force crosses a river in its onward march, do not advance to meet it in midstream.
Shot.
It will be best to let
Explosive
half the
sniper.
army get across and then deliver your attack. If you are anxious to fight, you should not go to meet the invader near a river which he has to cross. Moor your craft higher up than the enemy and facing the sun. Do not move upstream to meet the enemy. So much
so
for
annoying,
river
bro. I got
warfare.
2
In
minutes on
crossing
this
salt
contract.
marshes, your sole concern
Zip
should
to
be
it.
to get over them quickly without any delay. If forced to fight
Oh,
in a salt
Wendy's
marsh,
is releasing
you
a
should have
Krabby
water and
Patty?
grass
What?
near you, and get your back to a clump of trees. So much for operations in
IG.
salt
What's
marshes.
the secret formula?
Like
In dry, level
30 minutes.
Fish?
take up an easily accessible
Got
position
cannibals
with
eating
rising
Krabby
ground
Patties?
to your right and on
We
your
ever find
rear,
out what
so that the danger
secret formula
come
was?
back later, maybe. Phew. Look good. Watching these Urzic stand battles, cause like, yeah. I don't know, you know.
Can I
I'm not
type this
gonna
code
lie.
without getting killed?
Solid work evading the enemy.
Like, I don't know, Urzic versus Verdansk. I never really liked Verdansk. Yeah. It's just boring. Urzic like, it's kind of boring too, but you know, it is a place. Alright, like, why? What makes like Urzic and Verdansk boring to me? Basically, they're like what I, you know, perceive Alaska to be. I mean, like,
Okay,
who the
grabbing
fuck
this thing
lives
might
in
be a
Alaska,
pain
nigga?
too, because you could just blast me and I'm parachute down.
That's like kind of the point, right? Who the fuck lives in Alaska? It's like the exact same shit, cuz.
Spam clicked it.
Whenever they give you a map and they're like, yeah, you know, Russia. They're like, well, I mean, Alaska, nigga.
It's crazy that like no one opens this. Still a burger, just a special sauce
Too
and
much
toppings.
Alaska stuff.
What's the special sauce, bro? We gotta know. Pineapple under the sea.
Caldera. That was a map. You know, for a while. It was a map for a little while.
Yo, this sniper's
Al-Mazrah,
actually not bad. If
that
you don't
was a
put
pretty good map.
explosive
I
on
like
it.
that one.
Even though it's a non-meta sniper, if you just max them out for for velocity, make that shot actually feel like a sniper
especially
shot.
after like
Explosive rounds
what
or
was it, like
fire
fucking
rounds,
3
you have
years
to,
of
like, lead it a
Verdansk.
bunch because the velocity's dookie. I want my sniper shot
think it
to
was
hit
3
exactly
years.
where I'm aiming, like the
It was
HDR
Verdansk.
from Warzone 1.
And then Verdansk
It was,
84.
Amazing sniper, man.
Maybe like 2.5. And then a transition into the Caldera, which was like, again, that shit. The Caldera was just like set in a modern, would have been full lawless.
Is there a gold gun? What do we get?
So we go from Verdansk
Self-revive.
to
Already have one.
Verdansk 84, we go to Caldera,
Grab
then we go
another.
to Al-Mazrah, and here
UAV
we
as
are,
well.
Urzichstein. It's like, you know,
Enemies dropping into the AO.
Urzichstein. It's kind of boring, dude. Nothing super interesting, you know. And they're like, that's the point. It's not supposed to be all super interesting and shit. But it's like a watered down Al-Mazrah, right? Basically.
Please.
The feel of it, it's like,
Loading.
I don't know, it's like Al-Mazrah, like 0.5 or some shit. It's like Al-Mazrah 0.25. I don't even know how that makes sense. 0.2 fucking 5. It's like Al-Mazrah 0.25. I don't know, Al-Mazrah
Semi-auto. Semi.
0.15. It's like 15% Al-Mazrah. It's nowhere near as good.
We gotta be so damn close, bro.
Alright, like the only map
I'm scared.
for multiplayer that like you really recognizing this shit is like C-Town, cuh. Now you think about that shit. C-Town, which is like in this very area, is really the only shit from multiplayer where you're like, hey, you know what? I recognize that shit.
Which way to go? Yo, I need
Like,
gamer
how's
grip.
this not a
Bad.
multiplayer map, right?
My
Like,
controller, dude, is
where's
slipping.
this shit at?
I'm slipping. My
Why
grip.
did like
How am I
none of
supposed to game?
Al-Mazrah other than
What am I
C-Town have any basis in
Gamer
a
grip, man.
multiplayer?
I need some more of it. I got a tube.
I
I
mean,
just gotta open it
excuse
up.
me, Urzichstein, oh my gosh. Fucking, why did none of Urzichstein
Wiping my hands off.
have any translation into the fucking
There it
multiplayer
is.
other than C-Town? It's the only place. It's super strange, cuz. You had like MW4 maps in Al-Mazrah. Like, what was that joint? Man. Gosh.
Fucked up. Bro!
You know what I'm talking about.
Fight to earn redeployment.
I could have just stayed put and turned around. I gotta remember with this shoddy, I don't want to be running too much. I want them to be coming close to me. So I messed up by running away.
Like, alright.
Because the re-engage,
So,
I'm just too slow.
This map, Urzikstan, right? It's got favela, but it's like it's
You
not
have
the
an SMG,
Brazilian
you can like
favela.
sprint around and
So
slide around with
it's
the
like,
shoddy.
what the fuck are y'all doing?
Not as.
Are you trying to say that Urzikstan is like
That
on the
thing
same
hits.
level?
If you just aim down sight and shoot, bro.
It's Brazil and
Could've just stayed
favela,
put
like
and
no
turned around
fucking
and
way,
shot.
right?
But I wanted
Impossible.
to plate. I was gonna run in this door. Everything was just so slow, bro.
Yeah,
so
this
slow.
joint has got favela.
Gonna camp my loot.
And it's
Let's
got,
go, baby.
but it's like it's not the favela that you know. It's a favela
Let's go, baby.
style. Favela in C-Town, that's it. I'm like, come on, G, really? Oh, somebody right there. Yeah, might be two of them. They're fighting. 3 of them. Oh shit. They're behind him. Yeah, he's gotta get the fuck. Might hit him. Somebody right there. Shit, it's like 4 people here. I don't even have the headphones in. I can tell you the earbuds. I don't have the earbuds in. Low, slow. Alright, that's one guy. There's somebody down there. There's 2. Somebody potion.
Damn it, son!
Should've got low.
Damn it!
Get low, y'all. Get on the ground.
Shoot, bro. Spotter perk plus he had
gotta
specialist,
speak
so
low.
when I got shot, he could see me through smoke and he could see my footsteps.
When in doubt, shoot their feet out.
Yeah, I was kind of toast. GG.
Why do I say get low? Because it works against the shield. And if it works on that shit, it works on everybody.
With my audio cue, he threw me off. I thought he was gonna come from the door because it sounded like he was right there. but he
Motherfucker
came
that
from the window
constantly
behind.
gets, like, you know, whenever I would play, somebody would shoot.
Hey, nice place. Nice job camping my
At me,
loot, throwing a
and
cluster
it'd be
mine on
like
it,
the
and then putting
legs
an
and the
airstrike
feet.
on it and sitting on it. Good stuff.
Another thing,
TTV,
right? Like
let's
the
go,
crippling
baby.
effect. When you shoot people's legs, they
Hey,
can't
if
run.
I ever
They
camp
can't
someone's
really
loot, call
jump.
me out for it.
In case y'all still don't know that one. That's a
What was his
built-in.
name?
I'm pretty sure you
I
don't
want to
need
watch the stream.
like a certain.
TTT what? What if you
It's
named
like
yourself
even as
TTV?
agile as I'll be, right?
you are
When they start
TTV,
shooting at the
TTV.
legs, you can't move. You can't.
What was his name, bro? I want to tune into a
Can't
stream.
be evasive. Shoot them niggas' fucking legs. Shoot their feet. Oh my gosh, holy fuck. Is somebody... Oh, you can't see their hand, never mind.
Has Kaiser got a backup plan? Because Kaiser looks like he's
Ancient
cooked.
gear,
You know?
whoa.
The Zobe disease.
As a huge childhood fan,
Nah, Yu-Gi-Oh's fine. There's no need for like you know, let's do dual
As a
monsters
huge
and
childhood
stuff
fan
again.
of
Hell
Dragon
no.
Ball Z.
So, I don't know, have some goddamn kids, cuz. Shh. How about that? Have some kids of your own, and they'll keep making it. If you grew up watching Yu-Gi and Kaiba Duel, like, look, cuz it's about time you had some kids or some shit, right? I mean, goddamn. If you saw, like, the movie with the Shining Dragon, yeah, you probably should have kids by now. It's been fucking 20 years. I mean, holy shit. When I think about the fact that that movie came out like fucking 20 years ago, cuz. Back when I was like in the, I don't know, like the 5th grade or some shit. Alright, cuz, like, period. Right, straight up. Blue Eye Shining Dragon is a 20-year-old card, cuz. What the fuck? Blue Eye Shining Dragon is, like, almost old enough to drink liquor, cuz.